Now, question 10 is demanding that we solve each of these equations and check our answers. Now, before we tackle this question together, and trust me, it is a very easy one if you know what you're doing, let's first discuss what solving an equation means. Solving an equation simply is finding what this x is. X is an unknown number, it's a variable. You might be familiar with this because you've seen this in primary subconsciously. Usually they'd give you an empty square, right? And they'd say, hey, if an empty square plus 5 equals 18, what is that empty square? And usually you'd say, oh my God, that's very easy, right? That empty square is probably 13, right? So x is 13. But now, how can we solve an equation the algebra way? And it's not that different. It just involves showing some extra steps that you have been doing subconsciously all this time. Now, how can I visualize this in my head when I'm on the day of the quiz? Simply enough, imagine that an equation has two sides, all right? The first side is on the left and it's x plus 5. The second side is 18 and there's a wall separating them, which is the equation sign, right? So the first rule would be whatever I'm going to do to this side, it also has to be done on this side so the equation stays balanced, all right? So if I'm going to add a number here, I will also have to add the same number over there. Otherwise, this would not work. So what is the first step here? Now, my point is to isolate x, is to leave x by itself on the left side. And if I look at this equation, what's bothering me is this positive 5. And how can I eliminate this positive 5? You have to understand this idea. The opposite of addition is subtraction. Now, when I say, for the sake of remaining accurate, when I say the opposite, this is just a way to remember it by. These are inverse operations. Addition and subtraction are inverse operations, but then you can remember it as the opposite of addition is subtraction. And what is the opposite of multiplication? It is division. Yeah, I could hear you excitedly say division. I know. The opposite of multiplication is division. And we're going to use this fact to cancel whatever is bothering me next to x. So if I have an addition of 5 here, to cancel it, I'll just write down its opposite. And what's the opposite of plus 5? It is minus 5. And since I wrote minus 5 on this side, I also have to write minus 5 on this side as well. And now all I have left to do is simplify what I just added. So it would be x, and then what's 5 minus 5? That's 0. So we'll only have an x remaining on this side. And what is 18 minus 5? 13. And would you look at that? I just found x. What is x? X is 13. You have just solved A. Let's do the same thing for B now. So for B, x minus 8 equals 22. What's bothering me next to the x? It is a subtraction of 8. So how can I cancel this subtraction of 8? By adding an 8. So x minus 8 plus 8. You have to remember, whatever I add on this side, which is plus 8, I'll have to add on this side as well. So 22 plus 8. These cancel each other out. They become a 0, right? So let's cross them out. And then I will have x remaining on this side. And what's 22 plus 8? That is 30. Would you look at that? I just found the answer to B. X is equal to 30. Nice. Now let's move on to C. C is a bit different because right now we're not dealing with an addition or a subtraction. We're dealing with a multiplication. Now I'll allow you some time to find where that multiplication is and try to think of all the algebra rules that we already discussed and discovered together. 5x, is it 5x or is it 5 multiplied by x? It is 5 multiplied by x. And how do I cancel out a multiplication? I will just use a division. So if I'm multiplying by 5, to cancel that 5, I'll just need to divide by a 5. And since I divided by 5 here, I'll also need to divide 40 by 5 over there. Let's simplify now. What is 5x divided by 5? what are 5 apples divided by 5? Just 1 apple. And then what's 40 divided by 5? That is, of course, 8. Would you look at that? What is x? It is 8. Now, how do I check that my answer is correct for all of those? So let's say that for A, my answer was x is equal to 13. For B, x was equal to 30. And then for C, x was equal to 8. This is what I found. For you to double check whether you have the correct answer or not, just go back to the original equation. For example, x plus 5 equals 18. And replace this x with what you found. If by the end you reach an 18, you are sure that the x you found is the correct answer. So 13 plus 5 is 18. Let's do the same thing here. X minus 8 equals 22. If I replace x by 30, that's 30 minus 8, which is 22. And then 5x equals 40. That means 5 times 8 should be equal to 40. And is it equal to 40? It is. So all of my answers are correct for A, B, and C.